Lately, I've been drawing really weird characters, like really weird characters, and this one in particular caught my eye. If you look at the drawing on the screen, you'll see this little guy right here. Uh, I just love the way he looked, and I was like, okay, well, this obviously has to become my personality for the next couple of days. So I figured, why not make a painting based on this character? Now, he's an organ, which is the liver, and naturally, I named him Oliver. I wanted to create a painting based on that, where it's like the realization of me realizing that I'm in a pattern and then getting out of that pattern. So I called it Don't Forget to Live, and it's more so like to do other things versus the projects that you have, of course responsibly, but to do other things versus the projects you have, and have a little bit more fun, and also being mindful of the things that you're putting into your body, the content that you're consuming and stuff like that, just to be mindful. So that is kind of the message that I wanted to portray behind the painting Don't Forget to Live, with of course my crazy character Oliver. And I thought it would be a cool idea to walk you guys through the process that I used to create this painting.
A few moments later.
So this first sketch I called the kind of like idea dump, where you just kind of super draw, sketch, whatever you want to call it, quickly draw, that's a better word for it, quickly draw whatever it is that your idea is onto your paper, or in my case the iPad. And so this is kind of what I decided to come up with. Well, that was a little rough to begin with, but again, like I said, this is one of those things where you gotta trust the process. One of the things that I really wanted to learn more with this drawing is to get better with perspective. So I really tried to push myself outside of my comfort zone and start practicing perspective here. So I was drawing the boxes and whatnot for the Krabby Patties that I planned on where they were going, and then the box to hold the fries, and then also the soft drink. So I'm gonna go ahead and start like sketching in the Krabby Patty here, and I'm just getting like the rough idea for the drawing. I don't need like all the refined lines and whatnot. I just want to get like everything down and see what it is that I'm actually trying to do, because this is more so developing the sketch and the drawing. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and refine those details a little bit more with a black pencil, just so that that Krabby Patty looks more like a Krabby Patty and not just like a bunch of random lines. And then the easy thing for me is, since they're all Krabby Patties, I can just duplicate it and then put two of them in the background and then just go over those lines separately, so it saves me my time. And then the second thing I did was take that original sketch of Oliver and then just go ahead and slap him on there and kind of refine him, so that way he doesn't look like that original sketch where it's like trust the process, and really just kind of developing his character in the background. And then of course adding in the coral fries. I really wanted to kind of get it to have the details that it was supposed to have, with like, I don't know if they put salt in there, but I would imagine they would put salt on the coral fries. And then the thing that I was playing around with on this was getting the perspective right for the cup. I think that's pretty much how I'm gonna do it. I may have tweaked it just a little bit, but that's pretty much how I wanted to do it. And then lastly, put the salt in the corner, and then put the sign up in the upper corner, so that way the words aren't so like, they're not floating in like outer space or in the sky in this case for this painting. And there's one more thing that I actually ended up doing with this painting, which doesn't show it in this sketch, but if you look here it'll show it in this sketch, is that right in the left corner, that might be right, I also put a ketchup packet. There's a certain thing that I go through when I prepare a canvas, but you don't necessarily have to do it. I got my canvases from Michael's, and they're doing this thing where you can get like 20 16 by 20 canvases for $40. So I thought that's fine. So I went ahead and got those. I did look for the link for that in case anybody else wants to get those canvases. Canvases come pre-prepped in gesso, and gesso is basic. It's not I wouldn't call it paint per se, but it helps like get the surface ready. This is the gesso that I use, and I just put I try to put all the links in the description for the stuff that I primarily use, like the paints and the brushes. Essentially what you'll do is you'll put that gesso on this canvas, and as you can see, this canvas already has like gesso on there, and that helps you get fill in any like holes or texture and whatnot, so that way the paint can stick onto your canvas better. And then after I put the gesso, I put 2 or 3 coats of gesso on there. After I do that, I go ahead and sand it. In the video, you'll see like a makeshift sander because I cannot find that thing where you put the sanding strips on there and then you hold the block and then sand it across. So I put a wash, I think it was burnt umber or raw umber, burnt sienna, one of those colors. Essentially, a wash is you're taking some paint and you're watering it down a little bit. Now, the reason why I put that on the canvas is so that way I'm not painting on a blank white canvas, so I can accurately measure what it is that the colors are going to be when I'm actually painting the painting. This part I actually found very helpful, which is I messed off part of the painting with a piece of masking tape. And so on the bottom side I do the green, and then on top I do the sky, which is blue. And for the longest time I did not know how to like blend the paint, but I learned from somebody on TikTok, because TikTok is always giving me the good knowledge, the good tips. And I believe her name on TikTok is at Laura's Beading Art. I don't know if that's 100% what it is. I know she had a video on her YouTube channel, but I believe she had a video on her TikTok where she kind of showed her process of blending paints and the types of brushes she used. Now, she used a brush called a mop brush, and if I remember correctly, yes, here we go. Luckily for me, I had it like right here because I have everything near me. So she used a mop brush, and this is the mop brush that I used. I got this from Michael's. I also put the link for that in the description. So this is the brush that I used. I think when I got it, it was 16 to 20 bucks. You probably could honestly get away with using a makeup brush and doing that. But essentially what you want to do is you want to do this quick too. You'll put your paints down in the order that you want to blend it, and then you'll take a dry mop brush and you'll start like blending it together like you're doing makeup or something like that, or like just kind of like dapping it together, if that's the right word for it. So that's what I do for blending the sky and blending the grass and creating smoother tones. Now, as you can see with my grass and my sky, there is a little bit of texture to it, and that's because I did have one brush. So if you want to get something completely smooth, I recommend getting more than one of these brushes, so that way after you blend paint with one, you can use another dry brush and then blend it all together. But that's how I did the background for the sky and the grass. I get carbon paper and I print out the design from Procreate. The app that I use to splice the design is called Adobe Acrobat. We'll split that image up into a uniform image, so that way you can get it to the exact size that you want. And the plus tip with that is that you don't have to pay for the Adobe Acrobat trial. Just if you're using Procreate, just export that sketch as a PDF, so that way you don't have to convert it to a PDF when you use Adobe Acrobat, and then import that PDF, and it'll go ahead and cut those things up for you, and then you can print it out. So I tape all those pieces together and tape the carbon paper to it and put that onto the canvas that I have prepared, and then I go over it with a pencil. The one thing that I will say is that I changed the color of the line work for the sketch. Usually maybe it'll be black or blue or some other color, and I'll change it to like a lighter blue or red, and I'll lower the opacity because I have a low attention span, so I might look away from what it is that I'm drawing, and then I'll forget what parts that I drew and which parts that I didn't drew. So if it's black, I don't know what I did transfer and what I didn't transfer, so I just save myself the hassle. So we're nearing the end of my canvas preparation, and the last step of the canvas preparation is to go ahead and put the flat colors down. Now I consider that canvas prep because really I feel like that's more like of a technical thing for me. We're gonna go ahead and put the flats down. we've got the flats down, we're officially done with the canvas preparation, which means that it's the perfect time for me to ask you to like if you've been enjoying this content. It really helps with the algorithm and pushing my content out to other creatives, and it's also a very good time for me to make an announcement. My art brand, Wunder Sprite, will officially be launching on June 1st, 2023. In celebration of Wunder Sprite launching, I would like to give away a free limited edition print of the Don't Forget to Live painting. Now this edition will be limited to 50 prints in total. You can choose between a 16 by 20 inch print or a 8 by 10 inch print, and all you have to do is answer this question and be the first one to answer this question. And that question is, what do you do to get yourself out of a rut? Now for me, I know that in order to get myself out of a rut, I like to go do different things. I've tried different things like going to Comic-Con and whatnot. I go to the bookstore more often now. I find that really relaxing, and even to just chill out and just watch Netflix, that can be really settle your nerves and whatnot, and not so much focusing on all the deadlines and projects that you gotta do, just taking a breather and whatnot. So comment below, let me know what you do to get yourself out of a rut. The first person to answer to that, I will leave a comment under their comment telling them to get in touch with me on Instagram at Rockee's Way or on Instagram at Wunder Sprite. Whatever print size you choose, that order will ship after the pre-orders and everything comes in for the limited edition print of Don't Forget to Live. So that should be a little after June 1st.
12 seconds later.
Now that the flats are done, we're gonna go ahead and get into the render of the painting. last thing that I'm gonna do now that I've finished painting the picture is I'm gonna use a satin varnish to give the painting a protective coat. And you guys aren't gonna see that on screen. The next time you see this painting, it'll be the final shots of the finished version of the painting with the varnish and all that already on it.
I can't put a patty on a bun with lettuce, cheese, onions, tomatoes, ketchup, mustard, pickles, and top bun together in that order.
It's time.
One eternity later.